Bonjour et bienvenue au Century of Bobcast. I am your host, Bob, and we are now on to the third episode, which is, as usual, late. But, I always end up getting around to doing them. So in this episode, I got around to talking with Canada, our new horror player, as well as big old Rami, our previous Targaryen player, who is now moving on to bigger things, and who will... as he's told me, will reveal his claim and put up his post once this is put up. So, gotta edit it as fast as possible. And then I finished off with a conversation with Dragon to talk about, what he's gonna do now that he's moved on from Glover. Just fun stuff like that. What's going on with him and Vance in the Riverlands? And then I just wanted to talk about episode 4 real quick. My idea for it is to have the organization team, or at least the people who I can gather into a call, and we'll do, just a discussion, a longer segment of Bobcast with more people in one call, a bit of an experiment. And I also want to try out answering community questions, perhaps. Rami suggested that a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was a great idea. And, maybe it'll work well, and we'll get some questions, or maybe, I won't get any. And in which case, if there's no question segment in the next episode, then you know why. But yeah, so if you guys do have any ideas on questions that maybe you want to ask just about the game in general, maybe stuff for the organization team, or, questions for me, I don't know. I'm not terribly interesting, but if you guys want to ask me anything, I definitely don't mind. Just, feel free to PM them to me. I'm going to gather them all into one place and start getting ready for the next episode. But in the meantime, enjoy this episode, and look forward in the future for the fourth one, and have a lovely day. And I am now being joined by Canada, our new horror/horror player, depending on how you pronounce it. Canada, how's the new claim going?
It's definitely an interesting time,
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, by the way. Yeah. So horror is, with the entire Ironborn thing having been not really active, right?
Yeah.
For a while, it's been an interesting sort of time to kind of get adjusted from being, a low-level sort of claim in the Riverlands
Mm-hmm.
to, the kingship of, or potential kingship rather, of the Ironborn.
So, for those who don't know, what claim did you play before?
I played as Staunton in the Riverlands.
Yeah, so it's a
not
big
really
difference.
Pretty much.
So what is your current plan with the claim? Because you new king, well, potentially, I don't know how's that working out right now. I've been asking some people about that. Is there going to be a king's moot, or is that kind of on hold, or what's going on?
Well, we've got a couple different plans, really. So I've been working really hard with the rest of the Ironborn players that are, currently active,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're just trying to get a plan, a sort of feel for how we're going to do things. So I believe that a potential thing that might be happening in the future is the players will just agree on something, whether it be Greyjoy getting king, or Harris getting king, or Sigurd or Black Iron getting the king.
Mm-hmm.
Could be any of those. We might ask the mods for maybe guidance potentially on what's the best solution, right? Overall, it's just going to be guidance from them, right? We're going to figure it out on our own, and maybe the King's Moot will be the deciding factor, and they'll happen within the next couple days, hopefully, or weeks.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'm interested to see if, because there's a genuine chance that you're you don't become a king or something like that if stuff shakes up, right? So are you prepared for that? I mean, it's going to be less responsibility than being a king, so I'd imagine so. But is that your goal? Is your goal currently just to aim for king, and then if you don't get it, no big deal? Or
Well, the thing is, like, I'm kind of more interested in just the health of the region, right? So if Greyjoy becomes king and Hor doesn't,
Yeah.
well, great for him. I'll just act as, like, I guess, an opposing sort of force, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Sigurd and Harris both want the kingship, obviously, and they'll be directly opposing
Okay.
Greyjoy if he gets it, right?
So it'd be a
Same
bit of a
thing with
rivalry
if.
then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If Harris gets the king, Sir will try and fight him for it.
Yeah.
If vice versa, right?
Yeah. I think the thing that helps with you guys in the Iron Islands is if it's like an advantage that you guys have over everyone else, right? Is if you guys ever have something like a civil war. Not saying that that's what would happen, but if you guys ever had a civil war, you don't have to worry about other people coming to fuck stuff up too bad. Because you guys, you guys still have a fuck ton of boats, right? And does anyone really want to go through the trouble of having to invade the Iron Islands? Like, what are you gonna get out of it? So at least you guys have that peace of mind, right?
That's true. It'll
Yeah.
be kind of interesting seeing if civil war does happen, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's going to be focused on a ton of islands.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
And then, of course-
hopefully the North doesn't, invade again.
Oh boy.
Though I
That'll
don't
be
think they will.
Entire clown show.
Yeah, I think they learned their lesson the first
Hopefully.
time. Yeah, but I mean, I haven't said it yet, but congrats on the new claim. I don't think I said it, but yeah. So how does this compare? How does the Iron Islands compare to the Riverlands? What's the biggest difference that you find?
Well, thank you first of all, and really, it's the culture, right? Entire lore culture of the Ironborn is just so completely different from the Riverlands or the Vale or any of the other places that I've played before,
Mhm.
right? It's like a completely different continent, practically, right? It's like Essos.
Yeah, well, they're their own
Westeros,
people, right? Yeah, own
Yeah,
religion.
completely different. There's nothing basically the same about the Riverlands, right? So whereas the Riverlands would be a lot more, I don't know, you could say diplomatic in nature, right?
Yeah,
Like
I get what
I
you
would
mean.
send a ton of letters to Darklyn and Bracken. Here, it's not so much that. I feel it's more, we talk, we fight, we die, repeat.
Yeah. You drink that
Yeah.
as well. I feel that's pretty important as well. But
That is quite a classic.
yeah, but yeah. What was my question? I got it blanked out. Damn. All right. Well, I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but I mean, it definitely, the Iron Island players have really gone all out on the lore stuff. That's, I think it's kind of like the same thing with the Dragon Isles, how they've kind of gone all out on the
Oh yeah.
lore stuff, which is really cool. Like I don't lean as heavily into the lore part of things, but when people do it, I definitely appreciate it. Like, I think it's sick, but I mean, are you all caught up on that sort of stuff for the Iron Islands, or?
Absolutely not. Like I've got this page open, in Google Docs, just the Ironborn
Slowly
lore thing.
reading.
It's just so much of it to get through.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
insane. Like, props to the players for creating such an atmosphere, right? It's
Hmm.
actually genuinely one of the best I've ever seen. But
Yeah, it's very
so
unique.
much stuff to take in.
Yeah,
It's just, ugh.
it's a bit like a cold bath or something, just jumping right in. Just
Pretty
a
much,
bunch of
yeah.
stuff.
There's no kidding about that.
Yeah, but so any idea now with Heron being gone? Any idea if stuff with the Riverlands is in the future, or is that on pause while you guys deal with your stuff at home?
Oh, that really depends, because, like, the Ironborn have always been sort of like, independent. Every ship, every captain and king, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really planning. Well, I don't think I can enforce the rules too much. Even if Harris becomes king, and he's got all these treaties, right? He can't really enforce, let's say, Orkwood to not fight, right?
Yeah.
Or Sunderly to not go raid. Maybe he can tell them to quit it, or else, Kraken will come stomp their stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a lot more hands-off than a lot of kingships would be, and especially with all the chaos and kind of the loss of legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
So if Harris becomes king, he's kind of having to abide by all those things. If Sigurd becomes king, well, he doesn't really have to abide by all those things, but there's still a bit of loss of legitimacy among others, right? And it's
Yeah.
already so split. So I think, yes, there will be at some point some sort of interaction with the Riverlands that won't be very peaceful, but um,
Nothing on
we're
the
just
level
gonna...
that we just got. No
no, I don't
invasion.
believe so.
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the things that's very unique that you brought up with playing, King of the Iron Islands. That like other kings don't really have to think about. Like I didn't even think about that part of being playing as House Whore is being sort of decentralized. Like not saying that the Reach is like super centralized or anything, but I mean it is like there's one king and stuff like that, and because the land is pretty like easily accessible. My Reach's gardener is not so much of an issue, but I'd never even thought about how Whore has to worry about how getting to any vassal pretty much there's like a body of water right in your way.
Yeah, absolutely. So it becomes so much more complicated, and then as a result, the culture is just again completely different. Every ship captain is a king on there.
So is that you were saying earlier that your main goal as the new Whore player is to help the region, like OOC? Is that something like? Do you have like any ideas on like what you want to do? Like, do you just want to build up on the lore stuff that's already happened, or is it just that you want to like get some stuff going, get activity going? Is that kind of your plan, or?
I think it is more of the get things going and get activity going, because right now, well, it's just been a lot of drag and just nothing really happening, right?
Yeah, even though the Iron Islands is very claimed, it's also like a decent amount of inactive people, but it's because there's like not stuff going on, right? Because new player and stuff like that, so.
Yes, absolutely. That's no kidding there. Yeah, so I do really want to help the region, right, as a whole. Otherwise, I wouldn't have claimed. I would have stayed as Staunton because I was really happy with that claim. But I'm hoping maybe for this King's Moot and then the eventual fallout that'll inevitably happen because of it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to turn that into like sort of regional event that'll encompass a while, right?
Yeah.
Almost like a
storyline
in 7K. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's one big storyline that needs to be set out. And hopefully if we can get that going and get people on board, activity will rise, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing, right? Is trying to keep people engaged. Like I was talking to Rami about, because he's thinking of maybe going to the Iron Islands as a certain org claim. I don't know if you've heard about it or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and his whole idea, and he was telling me about that. And I was kind of surprised when he said that, like, oh, like the whole like King's Moot thing is like, I don't know what's going on with it because people aren't super active. And I was kind of surprised because I was like, you think that would be something that would really drive up activity, is something interesting like a King's Moot, or something, a change in power and stuff like that. But I really think that it's not even because of what's going on in the game. It's just because changing claimant, stuff like that, and the war just ended sort of like a month ago, right? So but I'm sure that you can do it. Obviously, you come in and you got an interesting situation, you just gotta keep pushing, I guess, keep trucking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be an interesting time. I think that having somebody, or rather a couple people that are just, what's the word? Just driving the activity, right? If you have some people that are driving activity, other people will eventually latch on, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's impossible for
a couple strong players.
Yeah, well, it's impossible for one person, I would say, to drive like an entire region because there's just too many people. Unless you're doing like 20 different threads at once and like one with each person, you're not going to be able to draw everyone in. You have to have other people doing that for you, right?
Absolutely, right. Well, there are, a lot of really strong players, really good writers in the Iron Islands, right? Spartan, a bunch of really good players who I know can write super well, who I know can drive storylines.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And yeah, as horror, I think I'm just trying to augment that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So help them out in driving activity, right? Because
Oh yeah.
ultimately collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm. Because like for me, I'm kind of trying to do the same thing, right? Because I had like a camping trip and stuff like that, and my activity went down for about 2 weeks, and then everything sort of chilled out with the Reach as well after the war. And then like I don't know, I was kind of just like, I was just sitting like I was just lying in bed one night, not falling asleep, and then I like started having a bunch of ideas, and I was like, yo, I gotta start doing some stuff to get like, get stuff going and all that. And so now I feel way more of a motivated because I'm pushing that like forward. And I think that's kind of like that's like an adjustment that I had to make like as a king player, right? Because you probably feel the same as playing as a smaller house is not at all the same as playing a king. And like
Absolutely.
yeah, and like as like a smaller house, I never even realized that I didn't have to like drive stories forward. Like not that I didn't do it, but it was just like if I stopped, it's not the end of the world because like I'm like this tiny little house, right? And you're more of like a participant rather than like a person who's pushing it forward, right? But then when you're a king, it's the opposite. You're trying to like make sure that you're pushing stuff forward to make stuff interesting for other people, right? So it's kind of like an interesting dynamic that I hadn't thought about up until I claimed in Century of Blood that I think a lot of people don't really realize. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with all those points there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, as you said, super different from playing a small house.
Yeah.
I was basically helping out, the larger claims, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now as a large claim, I have to drive the other players forward instead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting time, right? And there are plenty of, other players in the Iron Islands, smaller claims mostly, that I would like to engage very heavily.
No, that's fair. Well, I mean, is this your first like LP level claim? I don't
No,
actually.
I was Aaron for a while, for about a month and a half in the 7K.
Oh
and
yeah.
I sort of
Okay.
oversaw the beginning of the Klansman War there.
Okay. Yeah. So. Okay, I do remember that. I was, There's just so many people in this community. I always like forget what claim people played.
Yeah, that's
Like,
reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I do spend a lot of time on this game, but I got my limits. I can't remember everything.
Of course. Understandable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how does this? Because you pretty much stuck in the Vale in 7K, right?
More or less until I actually went to Staunton again.
Staunton. Oh, okay, yeah. And
so for the most part, I was Vale, though.
Yeah, when were you Staunton? Was that during like the Blackfire Rebellion, or?
No, I wasn't there for the Blackfire Rebellion actually.
No,
I was Staunton basically towards the end of the game, during the big war.
The big war. Yeah, I like how that doesn't even have a name.
It's just it's hard to say which one.
Yeah, well, like if you talk about like the Blackfire Rebellion, it's just the Blackfire Rebellion, or there's like the Stormlands Rebellion, and all that. But then for like the last war in 7K, it's just like the war.
Yeah,
the big war.
The Great War.
Yeah. World War Westeros. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm interested to see what direction the game as a whole takes, because I think that like this war was like the end of like the beginning phase of the game, right? And then it's like now it's like things have settled down, and we're 5 months into the game now, 4.5 months. So now we're past like the beginning section, and then we're going to like a different part of the game. So I'm really interested to see like how stuff turns out, right? Because politically and diplomatically, like with all the kingdoms, stuff's changed like quite a bit since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely. So like at the beginning, we were relying on storylines that were created at first, right? So for the Iron Islands, it would obviously be retaking the Riverlands. Now that that's failed, now there's completely different storylines that haven't been created for us. It's just evolved to be like that.
Yeah, well, it's like sort of like just every like kingdom, like the Riverlands at first at the beginning of the game didn't even have a king, and now they sort of settled down as well. Stormlands is chilled out, and then there's the stuff with the Dragon Isles and the Claw that's about to pop off. Like It's always interesting, like looking back
Mhm.
and like all the stuff that's happened. But I don't know. Do you have any bold predictions for what you think might happen in like the next couple of months, or no?
Ooh, that's
Just throw something. Just say something. We'll see if it's right in like a couple of months.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there will be a civil war for Iron Islands, right? That's
Yeah.
just like something that'll happen, I'm sure.
What do you think the chance of that happening is? Like what, 60? A 90?
I'd say it's fairly high. In some way or form, there will be like a bit of a rebellion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because inevitably somebody's going to be upset, and you know, somebody is going to have supporters who are also upset.
Yeah.
So maybe not like full-blown civil war, but maybe like an island rebelling, and then there'll be a storyline based on that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. This is how I personally feel, but I find realm conflict is like fun because it's not as stressful for the mods because there's usually just one region that's or one other one, but it's not like it's big movement orders, and because of that, there's usually because it's like in your region, you tend to know the people in your region more, and people tend to be a bit more chilled out. But so that's why that was my big focus going into this game as well, was like more a focus on like inter-realm conflict. At least when I like came in as king, I was like, I'd rather have us more doing stuff in the reach rather than always going off to fight some war somewhere else, because it's it's not super fun for people.
You've got a large enough realm for that,
Yeah, I was gonna say
people to do that fighting.
Yeah. We're good. We haven't even fought a war in like 50 years, right? So the fact that we came close this time was like the closest we come in like half a century. But like not saying that like I wouldn't mind like a bigger war, if it doesn't kill the mods.
Yeah, well, I think that any sort of war right now that would be larger than a region or two would fry their brains.
Yeah, no, I don't blame them.
Kind of need to, maybe should, chill a little bit on that.
Yeah, like that's why I was like, yeah, I'm glad with like how the current war turned out. Like I think all things considered, it came out pretty good. Like I don't even mean like in character, I just mean out of character. Like I think it could have like, considering our history as a community, it could have gone way worse.
Yeah, absolutely, no kidding there.
Oh yeah, so I'm just glad it went, pretty well. But yeah, we're coming up on 20 minutes now, and I'm actually on my break, so I have to eat. But but yeah, it was nice talking to you, Canada.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'll definitely talk again at some point.
I'd be glad to do so.
Yep. Yeah, see ya.
Have a good one.
All right, and now I am talking with Rami, our past Targaryen player who is now unclaimed. Rami, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So how's the claim hunting going?
It's good. I got some offers on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weighing up a few of them.
Okay, so you're still mulling them over?
My main criteria for choosing a new one is what's going to let me be really casual.
Oh, like you don't want to be like too heavily, like you don't want to spend all your time on this?
Yeah, it's more that I don't have the time anymore to do it, and I know that I'll put myself into throwing time at it when I don't have it. So I'm trying to artificially limit myself by choosing the right claim.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for something smaller then?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do an org, and it's looking like the Iron Islands have put out the best offer. Oh,
okay. So people are coming to you with offers then?
No, not really.
No. I mean, always welcome in the reach, but I mean, I don't know. Too many? Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of all we do is a lot of weddings.
Yeah, I think feast threads are my least favorite threads.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan of them either, honestly. Especially when you have to be the one running it. It's a lot of work.
King of the Reach, anti-feast. You heard it here first on the Bobcast.
Yeah. I'm fake news, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Good luck with your claim search, but how do you feel good leaving Targaryen behind then?
I think they're in a good spot. It's definitely a bummer to leave it because there's a lot of fun, and region was just like perfect, great people.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel good leaving the characters where they're at. I think a lot of them have like a lot of room to change, to move around.
Yeah.
And like the only ones that I like really developed super, super strongly are like the bastards that live in Duskendale.
Okay, so it wasn't like
will have a lot of like maneuverability still.
Yeah, and like the main characters that people like, at least for Targaryen in this setting, that I imagine a new Targaryen player would be really interested in, even though they're really young, is Aegon and his sisters. Right. So because they're so young, you haven't had a chance to flesh them out. So at least they will have a chance to do that, right?
Yeah, and I've been leaving them purposely kind of untouched just in case something like this happens. Because I think that the claims are always more attractive and appealing when you get some room to write what you want.
Yeah, a little creative freedom.
Right, and so like Oris Baratheon's in the Tar claim too, and I think he's 10 now.
Okay.
And he storms in, so there's some cool stories there to be told with the kind of fresh character that's got some canon basis and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he's got such a draw, right, because of the stuff he did in canon, that I wouldn't be surprised if like he's a character that someone claimed like as like a split claim, like just took on him or something like that.
Sure, there's a lot of people at the beginning of the game that were asking about that.
Oh, really?
Now as he starts kind of moving in towards being a real human, people get interested in it.
You saying children aren't human?
No, 100% not.
No, that's fair. Children aren't human.
You don't become human until you talk about like TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I mean they're in an interesting spot. I mean, with all this stuff that's going on in the Dragon Isles and the stuff with the Claw, and you guys in the, well, not you anymore, but them in the Duskendale and stuff like that. Because
I still didn't know anything about it in character, really. Like,
really? You still don't know about it?
Well, there was like some rumors that they were getting pissed off, and I had been telling Celtigar to tone it down. And one of the last things I did was just be like, all right, let's cut this off.
Yeah.
But like the degree to which they got pissed off, Targaryen never like fully understood.
You were kind of left in the dark, right?
Right, and like Irian just didn't care about them, and his only thoughts towards them were like there were some ideas of building kind of like a freehold type thing with the Dusklands and the Claw, so like as like allies. So that was sort of his thoughts on them.
Oh, okay. So
are not reciprocated in any way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand why the Claw would probably not be the biggest fan of you guys. I mean, they don't know that you don't, that the Targs don't know, but
right,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, Seven's doing some fun stuff down there.
Yeah, no, he's doing a really good job. He's a fun brood.
Yep.
I really want to get some characters over there. Because I've only been in Duskendale once at the beginning of the game, and I have not been in like that region at all. And with all the stuff that's going on, I really want to, get a character over there just so I can like, be semi-involved, be like a side character or something. But I don't know. I have to come up for a reason.
We kind of hit like a little lull just because the like Faith Militant and Faith kind of went unclaimed for a second there.
Yeah.
But before that, there was a lot of stuff going on in the city that was really fun to write.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you had characters in the city, right?
Yeah, one of the Targaryens is the Master at Arms for House Darkland, and then the other one's like his intrigue advisor kind of person.
Oh, okay. So so they're pretty
involved.
Okay. Because like obviously for someone who's not involved, it's always interesting to hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But was that something that was set up at the beginning of the game, or was that something that like you had to work towards in character?
I knew that I wanted them to be abroad. Like the two people in question are like half siblings that are, in good Targ fashion, now married. But they're married under the faith of the Seven. I just don't think that the Septon that married them knew they were siblings.
Oh, it was just like all these two people have the same colored hair and everything like that, but it's fine.
They have different last names because of like the Targaryen bastard name stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of snuck through on that, but they sort of just started in like taverns in Duskendale and then met a couple Darklands and through roleplay kind of into tutoring a couple of the kids in personal combat and then working up to positions.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was a fun story. Mirza and Brawl are a bunch of fun to roleplay with.
Yeah. Well, does that work in with the Academy stuff? Because I I've had a character like come up to me and be like, I want to go to the academy, right? But I don't know about it in character that much. But whose idea was that?
And Celt put that together. And that's sort of like being run by a couple Celtigars that are counselors for Targaryen on Dragonstone.
Okay, so it's like sponsored by the Targaryens, but they're not like the ones running the show.
Yeah, we bought it's like the dungeon improvement, so like mechanically it trains you to novice and intrigue.
Oh, okay.
But like in roleplay wise, it's sort of just like a Valyrian culture and poetry and history.
Yeah, so like it's just kind of an academy in general, but mech wise, it's just for intrigue.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, because I don't know, it's a pretty neat idea. Like that was the idea, right, when we were making mechs for those improvements, was to have people sort of set up like academies or like training camps and stuff like that. I remember that being something that like we discussed. I don't know if it was me and you, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Like that was the idea.
Like we wanted it to kind of go that way, and we tried to get some regions involved in character that we hadn't like talked too much. So like there's a bunch of Northerners there, like CK and Punch and a couple other people, and I think there's a Westerner. I think Marbrand's there as well. It's kind of been fun getting people that like wouldn't normally show up on Dragonstone to come hang out and do some kind of like school role play. And Celt's obviously like really good at the world building stuff, so it makes it easy to have him write those lectures and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's really, really good at that. Has it like, so is he like, was he the one handling all of that then?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay.
Like most things on Dragon Isle, Celt runs it.
I mean, that would explain why you guys are so badly run, but okay. But yeah, no, I mean, that academy stuff is like exactly what we planned for, so I'm pretty cool that, it's pretty cool that it actually popped up. But, moving on from what you used to do to what you're gonna do, do you have like a list of the places you're thinking of going to? I want to hear what the list is.
So one of them that I'm still kind of excited about as well is it would be basically like an old woman, like Soothseer Greens, like Woods Witch kind of person.
Okay. But
I wouldn't buy any magic with the org. I don't really know what I'd spend the points on. I don't really know how many points I'd even need for this.
Okay, yeah.
And I would like set up on an auto detect somewhere, and everybody that crossed through, I would ask them if they wanted their prophecy told to them, and then I would like random roll on a list of prophecies to just give to them randomly.
That's kind of cool.
Like, kind of like pretending to be a magic person. It's like definitely more of like a bit character, so it's like slightly less likely, but I think it would also be kind of fun to do something along those lines, kind of like an old Nan kind of character. But
yeah, that's something that I could see, like a sort of scenario or character that I could see being set up by like the events team.
Right.
Yeah. So would she just sit then in one tile?
Yeah.
Or like move around?
Will come through, and it's one of those things that like would hopefully just give people hooks if they wanted to write towards something.
Yeah, like it's up to them to use that opportunity to make something of it, basically.
Right, and we can see in the books like what prophecies do to people. Like, like Cersei goes crazy over getting a prophecy. She's a young woman, and like that drives a lot of her character and her development. So I think something similar could, be provided to other people's characters who are looking for, another hook or something along those lines.
Yeah, or something to spice up maybe a character that they haven't played before.
Right, like prophecies like don't trust your uncle.
Yeah, and it's just like something that you pulled like out of like a roll me.
No basis in in-character knowledge. There's no actual magic or mechanical impact behind it. It's just a random thing some old lady told her on the side of the road.
Yeah. Just some homeless old lady just sitting on the side of the road reading out prophecies. Yeah, so what else do you have then?
That's one of them. The other would be waiting till the new Targ is chosen and asking me if they wanted to co-claim and just take the two people I was writing in Duskendale.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they're like relatively separate. Like they were exiled from Dragonstone, so they're not exactly like in the claim.
What are they exiled for?
They were. One of them has a slight issue where he hears voices and they tell him to do things.
Oh, okay.
And it was causing some minor small folk murder.
Oh, so slight issue. Okay.
They're quietly asked to leave.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you've got the old lady, the two targs, and then what else?
The other one that I'm thinking on is a drowned priest org claim on Old Wick.
Oh, okay. So would it kind of be like in the same vein as like the old lady?
I think it could be similar, but this one would be maybe like a little more like mystical-y, kind of like playing up some of those like Norse, like trickster legend kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones that if I do it, it would be not like taking over the like drowned priest storylines that they've already got going, because a lot of people in Iron Islands are already doing like really cool stuff with that related to their King's Moot.
Yeah, it would just be like a separate thing.
Yeah, it would be like a little side thing, and like could get involved if they wanted to like write them in, but would not be like, it wouldn't be like the equivalent of like the Faith claim.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, are they going to have a King's Moot? Because you could.
I don't know exactly. Last time I heard, I think they've had a lot of activity stuff slowing it down, like not having horror for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt. But I think that the like drowned priests were like debating whether or not you were even like allowed to call a King's Moot.
Oh, so they're kind of, yeah, because I knew that there was whispers about a King's Moot, because I mean, you lose your king. Kind of like in this setting, people are gonna want to do it, but I don't know. I haven't been keeping track, right? So it's like
I'm definitely not the most qualified to talk on it, but I know Greg and everyone else is like, wait, can we do that?
Okay, yeah, like they're not sure.
Still in the can we do that phase.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're working it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you could have some really cool opportunities there then with a priest.
Yeah,
like around the King's Moot.
Nice. I was there all 7K, and I really liked that kind of world building and culture, and those are like my favorite characters and chapters in the books.
Oh yeah, you like the world building stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like Theon and Damphair and Euron and Victorian. I just think they're like cool characters.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that would be another good option, but I think all three would be fun, and they'd all be like at my own pace, which is the big thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always do all three, right? Just 2 alts. No big deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just all claim with ramming power and ramming speed.
Yeah, well, I mean, good luck with choosing your next claim. I'm sure you'll choose a fun one. I mean, you've got 3 good options, right? So.
Yeah, I think all of them would be a good time.
Mm-hmm. And they all have like varying degrees of like, because like your old lady one, you wouldn't have to be probably super like active for, because it all depends on how many people are going through.
I can write lore when I've got time to write lore, and role play when I'm interested in role playing.
Yeah, well, are you a big lore writer? Because like there's people who are and people aren't, because like I'm not a lore writer at all. I suck at it. So I can't do it.
For lore writing.
Okay.
And I think it's just because like I first joined these games because I wanted to do more like creative writing, because I spent all of my like normal time doing technical writing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so like in 7K especially, like I would do a lot of lore posts just because I think it's easier to explore the characters when you're not like having to describe what they look like to whoever you're role playing with.
Yeah.
Event posts, but I think in COD, just because I've had like a lot more like IRL stuff going on that's kept me busy, and a lot more just like mod work kind of stuff, it's been harder to like find the time to do full lore posts. So hopefully this move will kind of help that come along.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's good that like I don't know how exactly to put this, but like, okay, so you joined 7K when again?
I joined in May of 2019, so a year and a half ago or something like that.
Damn, really? I don't know why. I thought it was longer.
I know, it's really quick.
So you really are a newbie still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only had like 3 claims to this point.
I mean, hell, I've only had 3 claims up to this point as well.
Yeah, but you stayed long.
Yeah, I did stick in the same claim for 2 years. Yeah, so it tends to happen. But it's because, again, that's what I find kind of funny is, like, I don't know if you find this as well, but with some newbies, I'm completely changing the subject here, but some newbies, when they join, like, I find that, like, they just kind of integrate really well, and you don't even realize they're a new player.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, that's why, like, when you were saying, like, you playing in the Iron Islands in 7K, I, like, didn't even, like, bat an eye. I was like, oh, yeah, Rami was there the entire time. But like when I think back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, you weren't actually there like the entire time. Like when did you come in like in character? Do you remember what was going on?
I claimed while we were in the middle of occupying and like sacking the crag at the beginning of the whole like Red Rain.
Oh, interesting time to join in, like join the Iron Islands.
Yeah, so I like was there for that, and you know, for those of you who are new people, like that's when Rain had gone over to Old Wick and crippled the drum heir and stole the Valyrian steel sword.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Buns and Alistair came and like sacked the crag, and we're about to move on Castamere before the king was like, all right guys, let's calm down. But you know, like before that happened, there was, you know, thousands of people slaughtered at the crag and all that fun Iron Island stuff.
Yeah, so you came when you joined. Were you like at the crag already?
Yeah, they let me like TP my lord there so I could have a PC with all my troops because the troops and ships were already there.
That's funny. Okay, so you came in like right at the right time.
Yeah, like my second week, I stole like 6 Lannister warships.
Really?
Yeah, they like rolled into harbor and we like took them.
Oh
and,
my
like,
god.
I think Swan was there and was like holding on to them, and character I reached was like, I could hide these for you to make sure they don't go missing. Just like hopped aboard and sailed off.
Yeah.
Like quadrupled the fleet in a day.
And then how long was it until you became Greyjoy?
It was like a month and a week or something like that.
Were you really that much of a newbie when you became Greyjoy?
Yeah.
God damn. Okay. You're ballsy.
It was super fast. Yeah, I was just like, I really like Greyjoy. I'm gonna do it.
Were you prepared for how much of a commitment it was?
I think I was. I was writing a lot at that point and like pretty involved.
Oh, you had a lot of free time?
Yeah, so it wasn't like, and also like Greyjoy wasn't too much mech work either at that point.
Oh, because of the position they were in and stuff like that?
Yeah, like we were just like, we had like naval supremacy over on that coast, and it wasn't really that close. So, and I wasn't also planning on doing like big coastal invasions or anything. So
yeah, it's harder in a united setting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And internally, I just brought a couple people off bridges, and everyone was happy.
Yeah, but yeah, no, because I remember you playing as Greyjoy, and like I said, like I just didn't even bat an eye. Like I remember people being like, "Oh, there's a new player playing Greyjoy," but like it was just kind of like, okay,
right,
whatever. I mean, I think it turned out pretty well. You're an okay guy.
It's funny how people can join so fast. I mean, like Dino and Carlo joined at the beginning of Cobb, and within like a month, they were like the most important mods modding the whole game.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Dino and Weir have both been like admins since the start, and they were like both newbies when they became admins, and they're still admins, but like they've been like with me like since the beginning, and I find it like they're like really like they've really like nailed down like the whole game really fast. And like, you know, you can take people like the ball player in the Reach, like just came in and got integrated really easily, and it's always really nice when that happens.
Yeah, I think people jumping new and just joining straight away is really what keeps it interesting and fresh. And because if you roleplay with the same people in 18 different versions of this game, like you're gonna kind of have similar storylines unless you throw in something that's got a different idea or a different, you know, outlook.
Yeah, and as we've seen too, like if you end up sticking with like the same group of people, or like, you know, play with enough people for this, you know, the same amount, like a long time, play with the same people for a long time, and you tend to, you know, get like out of character relationships that can become an issue. So
yeah,
like
there's small,
yeah, so
we're, you know, not free of any blame there either.
Yeah, I know. That's for sure. But yeah, anyways, I mean, I just realized we're coming up on like 22 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. It was really nice talking with you, Rami.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I call it a pleasure, but
eye out for that claim post.
Oh yeah, no, I'll keep an eye out for that. You gonna put that up like soon, or
we'll figure out. When does this drop to the people?
Probably tomorrow, like tomorrow night.
Okay. I'll wait till this drops.
You want till it drops? All right, I'll make sure to get it out faster then.
We'll build some suspense.
Okay, sounds good. All right, bye, Rami.
Have a good one, dude.
There. All right, I am now talking with Dragon, our old whore heir or whore player. I prefer one way or the other, as well as our old Glover player joining me. Say hi, Dragon. Dragon?
Did I?
Yeah, no, I don't think it worked there. You didn't say anything.
I left to quiet them down.
Oh, okay. It's all good. Yeah, no, for everyone else who's listening, because you missed out on the conversation we had earlier, but he's got siblings in the background, so yeah.
Not to make noises.
Yeah. No, it happens. I mean, thankfully I live alone, so I don't have to worry about stuff like that, but it used to be the same for me when I had to live back home. So, what are your plans with the game now that you're not Glover anymore?
Oh, hopefully I get a dairy, because then otherwise Armistead is basically just head in the water, because he's so reliant on Isla Dairy for any progression.
Mm-hmm.
Probably get around that, but I'm kind of afraid that would require just throwing it all out the window, which would really suck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, okay, so for people who haven't been keeping track, what claim do you play?
Vance of Wayfarer's Rest,
Yeah.
Bomb's old claim. I'm not a bomb alt before you ask.
Oh no, it's okay. I've been in VC with both of you, so I can tell you guys are the same person. That's all good. But I mean, maybe I'm a bomb alt. You never know. But
Everybody's a bomb alt.
Honestly, we're all alts at this point. That's just how it is. This game's all played by like 5 people. But yeah, no. So how's Vance going? How's the Riverlands? I know you guys are still sieging Raventree Hall.
Yeah, I'm just settling in. So far, the only real RP I've had is with Ember and Emmon Vance, who's Armistead's little brother of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Really attached to an Aaron lady, and that's really the only RP I've gotten so far.
Yeah, because you're just settling in, right?
Hoping to get some stuff there.
Yeah, but well, what part did Vance? Because Vance was unclaimed during the war, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is.
It's kind of interesting that like a house that basically in the beginning established itself as being decently important just does nothing as they're being invaded.
Oh yeah, no, that's that's just one of the crappy things with houses being unclaimed, right? Because maybe they have like a player who's done like a whole bunch of work and stuff like that, and as soon as they step away, it's like, oh well, a little irrelevant now. Yeah, that's why I never wanted to leave any of my old claims, because I was always like, oh man, if I step away, what if no one claims, and then everything I did was like, I wouldn't say wasted, but you get what I mean, like just kind of like forgotten about.
I've kind of been afraid of that.
Yeah.
I was afraid of that because it's really in a nice position, but it's might not be claimed until all of that is just squandered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like by that point, it would have been like a couple of months in game, or a couple of years even.
Yeah.
And by that point, it's a little. I wouldn't say, I don't know what the right word to put it is. It's not weird, but it's like, it's just kind of like there's no real way of addressing it, because it's not like the mods can just play the houses or something like that or keep them important. But yeah, no, I definitely get the feeling. Which is why I claimed a smaller house in 7K, and then my plan was never to stay there, but then I ended up staying there because I liked it and because I didn't want to leave it behind and then have it go to waste.
It was the same. Like, claimed Reading, thought that I'd just settle in and everything, and then next thing you know, I'm writing lore with Ferg at the end of the game with character of Reading.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I know. So you're happy with your new Vance claim, but how long were you Glover for again?
A month.
A month?
Originally, it
Okay.
was going to be shorter, but the mods took too long on my exemption, and my timer actually finished. So
Okay, yeah. So because of that, I took a little bit longer.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you only joined as a co-claim, right? Like you're only there for like a pit stop, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then direwolf thing happened, and
Mm-hmm.
everything just went downhill from there.
Yeah. That
The
direwolf thing.
in-character
Did you know
stuff
about
was
that?
actually the in-character stuff was actually pretty nice for me to think about what directions it could go, but
Mm-hmm.
everything else just really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. No, fair enough. But I mean, at least at least everyone's kind of moved on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But any kind of ideas that you have with your new claim, though? Any ideas with what you might want to try out? Anything in the Riverlands that interests you?
Mm, well, in regards to the claim itself, seeing as Derry's from what I've heard, is possibly going to be in the middle of a civil war, it's more than likely that I'm going to have to take a side, and I'm interested to try and figure out which side I do take.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Well, what's going on with Dark?
Honestly, I'm just settling in. Haven't really figured out much about the characters. Just run things around in my head, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's going on with Dari then? Do you know? Like, are you caught up on that? Because I didn't know that they might be having a civil war.
They might not. This is just stuff that I heard from random documents and stuff that people said and everything.
Just in chat and stuff like that.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, like, how does Vance feel about like Bracken King and stuff like that? All that's going on. Have you been able to catch up on that, or are you just kind of gonna do all of that fresh?
Oh yeah. I have, like, I was around near the beginning, had a number of interactions with Vance at the beginning.
Okay.
Pretty supportive of Bracken as a king, but they have also technically insulted him.
Oh,
because, like, Armistead wanted to be king. He wanted the Vale to support him. The Vale did not support him, so instead he negotiates with Otho, and in the end, he comes back with council seat and a royal bride. What happened to those two things is that then Armistead, thanks to, interestingly enough, my character, Kara Deddings, met Nyla, and he basically gave up the council seat and the royal bride and pretty much insulted King Otho so that he could get Nyla.
Okay, yeah. So he was distracted by someone else then, and because of that, kind of spat in the face of the Brackens. Yeah. Well, the Bracken reign in general seems to be pretty controversial in character. Because I'm always like in character. I'm always hearing from people like either I'll hear from one person like, oh, the Brackens are the pretty solid kings and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool that we have our first River King and all that, and then you'll have like I'll get a letter from someone else who's like, oh, like, Otho's a tyrant and stuff like that, and he sucks. And I keep hearing different opinions from people, so in character I'm just like, well, what the hell do I believe, right? Like, like I'm an ally of the Riverlands, so what is it, how am I supposed to feel? But it's pretty cool seeing that stuff play out, and I'm interested to see what happens with Raventree Hall.
It's just locked in eternal siege.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad that at least the Bracken Blackwood blood feud came into play into this game. I mean, I think it was kind of a given, but it's never really had a chance to like be
in the beginning.
off.
In the beginning, it looked like he was just going to be thrown out of the way, and then war just changed that.
Well, the Blackwoods sort of lining themselves up with the Durandons and the Stormlanders. Not completely their fault because they had Paige pushing hard for it as well, but they kind of had to ally themselves with them. So because of that, that sets them against Bracken, and so I'm glad that stuff came into play because in a lot of not that it hasn't shown up in the other games because it has, but it's just not on the same level, So yeah. I mean, I'm pretty. I've always been interested in the blood feuds and stuff like that because there's still Forrester and Whitehill, and didn't that come into play in the North? Wasn't there a thing going on recently?
Because Dino made me crawl through his post history to read anything, I didn't exactly figure it all out, but one of his characters does believe that Whitehill stole their ironwood in the middle of the lore siege.
Okay.
So, kind of going out. It was, and that's also the character who initiated everything that happened in the Wolf's Wood that happened around then when I was claimed. So yeah, I kind of did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened with the Wolf's Wood? I don't keep track of the stuff that goes on in the North too much. But I saw there was all that stuff going on in the Wolf's Wood. Do you think would you be able to explain that?
It was mostly out of character stuff by the time I took it over because that point I really just didn't want to play the claim anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Characters that I hadn't intended to take it on in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I'm not fully educated on this, but what happened was Forrester, from an out-of-character perspective, they sieged themselves. From an in-character perspective, one of their SCs led a peasant revolt. Their ironwood disappeared, and then one of their characters, Evia, I think her name is, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. She's super over paranoid and super jumping to conclusions and just believes that Glover was being bad lieges and purposefully sabotaging Forrester. So she sent a letter to Woods and King saying that Glover was bad at its job.
Okay, so that kind of...
I'm probably not explaining this in the best, but
no, it's fine.
That to the King organizing a conversation between Lady Lysara and Foresters at some point. I'm not sure if that actually played out, but because Woods, one Woods character just threw a wrench into everything because a prince showed up in Ironwrath.
Mm-hmm.
The regent of Ironwrath, who is Alan Woods, decides that he's just going to completely disrespect him and his authority and basically kicked them all out of Ironwrath.
Okay, so that pissed them off.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And basically, a series of escalations that involved Lysara allying herself with Kaelin Woods, and Kaelin Woods going to Winterfell and giving himself up because he didn't understand the severity of what he'd just done, led to a settlement that was unfortunately mostly decided out of character for reasons before.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's the whole situation then, is that?
As best as I can probably explain it, I wasn't really involved. I was just playing my characters, just
because you came into that situation, right? You claimed while that was going on already.
While it was starting, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
around the time that I claimed Dino came back and then did the whole force you starting everything, and then all that I was really doing was just wandering around my characters' close relatives and just asking them what they thought of Glover, because I was playing Glovers that just didn't like the main branch of the family.
Oh, you were like the offshoot Glovers.
Either. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like the grandchildren of some guy who thought that he was the rightful lord, and then
okay.
And now one of them just wanted to continue that, and so he's trying to get everybody on his side that he could. He got nobody on his side in the end, because ironically he basically missed the entire Wolfswood issue, which possibly gotten him a chance to actually do something.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, with because you played Glover for a month, right? But how did Glover and I guess Vance compare to playing in the Iron Islands? Because there's three very, very different claims that you've played.
Yeah, yeah. Very different. Like with horror, half the time I didn't even know what I was doing. The main focus is on like raiding and war, and I know absolutely nothing about the mechanics of that.
Okay, yeah, so you're a little lost.
I was usually using like the rest of the islands, which is general, like, you know, it's known as the retirement home for the senior players. So basically I used them as a crutch for the mechanics, and organized I only organized one raid that had mixed results.
Which raid was that?
That was the one that ended up with Manderley technically losing the battle but killing all of the involved PCs.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
That super semi-disastrous one, which was, I kind of managed to justify doing something semi-suicidal in character, because all of the characters involved really didn't like Herring.
Oh, okay. So
kind
you got lucky.
It was semi-victory for him.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I find it funny that you described the Iron Islands as the old folks' home, or whatever, or because you're right, it is like where a lot of like the old, like not older players, but the players who have been playing for a lot longer have kind of settled, and it's interesting to see that like that's how like the regions are sort of split up, like that we have like a region just for like the older players. It's funny that you say that. Yeah, but anyways. Yeah, anyways, we're coming up on 20 minutes, so I'm gonna I think we've had a good conversation, and I have to go talk to some other people too as well, and hopefully this will be up soon. But it was nice talking to you, Dragon.
You too.
Yeah. Invigorating stuff. Well, that's the end of the Century of Bobcast, episode 3. As I said in the beginning of the episode, please don't forget to send in questions if you have any. If you have any of your own suggestions for the show, just hit me up in the Bobcast channel, or just PM me and be like, hey, Bob, you're an idiot, do this. Also, if you have any memes, I'm running out of memes to put as the picture for these things. I just look through pins and channels. And, you know, I try to keep them timely, but, you know, memes aren't always coming out at a factory level, so I'm not having a whole lot. But if you got any memes, please feel free to make them so I have some more stuff to put in the episode. But yeah, other than that, please enjoy Century of Blood as it is right now. I look forward to episode 4. Talk with me in the Bobcast channel or anywhere else. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day.